We're going to look at setting up your calculator. I know students come to me often and they have some sort of problem. The screen is a little wonky or they can't quite follow the directions and get it to do what it says it's going to do. And often this is because of the way the calculator is set up. So one of the first things you need to know about is this opportunity to work with memory down here, the plus sign. If you do the blue second key with the plus sign, it'll take you to this menu, and we're interested in resetting, which is option 7. So if you choose option 7, we have the chance to reset all the RAM. This is like taking your calculator all the way back to when it was brand new from the factory. It'll erase any programs you might have installed, any data you might have saved, any variable names. So it's pretty drastic. The second option will just restore you to the factory defaults. And this should work to kind of reset you for most purposes. So that's the one I'm going to do. I'll move to option 2 and I'll press enter. Then it gives you a second opportunity because this is going to delete things. So we're going to go down and say, yes, we will reset. And we reset, and you'll see that the defaults have been reset. Now, if we come up to the top row and look at our mode button, under there, you'll see the kinds of things you might typically want, sort of normal notation, floating points. Radian or degree, when you're doing trigonometry and doing a lot of work with angles, a lot of times in elementary trig, you'll want degree measure. So let's arrow down to get to radian, and then over to get to degree, and then enter to make that selection. And the rest of these should be fine. Function, connected, sequential, real, full. If we arrow on down, we'll see other things, but for the most part, that should be set up just fine. So now, if we want to quit out of that area, we'll do the blue second with the mode button, which says quit right above it. And that takes us back to the main screen. The clear button will clear off that screen. Now, another place that I find sometimes things are left set up and that can be a problem is over here with the y equals menu. So if you go under y equals, you'll see that we have two functions defined. We want to clear those out, then tab down, clear again. Then our y equals menu is cleared up. If you arrow right on down, you'll see these will continue all the way there. And if you have a function indicated in any of those, it will possibly show up in a graph and create a problem. So that's totally cleaned out. Another thing is I usually do a zoom 6 for zoom standard, and that will reset your calculator so that your screen is going from -10 on the x-axis to 10, from -10 on the y-axis to 10, and these little tick marks are 1 unit apart. If you want to change that, you can go under Window, and here we have the opportunity. So if we wanted our x to go from -20 to +20, we can do that. Be careful when you enter negative numbers that you use this negation symbol down here at the bottom of the keyboard. If some people do the minus sign by mistake, that's when you want to subtract. This is when you want to negate. If we arrow on down, this X scale, this determines the width of a tick mark. I usually don't like the tick marks, so I change that to 0, but you can set it to whatever works for you. Then let's say we want the Y min to go from -30. Notice I used the negation key, not the subtraction key. Arrow on down, 30. Again, I'm going to turn off the tick marks with a 0. And these last two, I rarely change those, so we won't pay any attention to that. Now, if you press graph, your graph, although you can't tell it from the screen, is now going from -20 to 20 on the X and -30 to 30 on the Y, the way we wanted it.